Hey, problem solvers, welcome to Social Studies. Now, earlier today in literacy, we discussed a bunch of different resources that we can use to gather information. That directly relates to what we're doing here in social studies, which is making your persuasive book into a alternative way to convey information. So just like there are multiple ways for us to absorb information, there are multiple ways for us to convey information. Now we started talking about this the other day. We started making a list, but I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into that list so that you could all choose the type of project that speaks to you, that you choose to do. This is a great opportunity for all of you to show your creative side and for you to have a solid choice in how you learn, essentially, how you convey all of this information that you've been learning. Um, so again, we talked about on Tuesday, we talked about some ideas for how people can present information. Let me pull back up that anchor chart. You can see here that I added quite a bit more. And I want to go over some of those options with you. Remember, that whichever one you choose, it is 100% your choice. But I need you to think about your strengths and what is available to you. If we were doing this in school, it would be a lot easier for me to help you gather materials and resources and things like that. You need to take into account what materials and resources are available to you at home during remote learning. So keep that in mind and let's go through this list. So we broke it down into 4 different categories. Now you can write about your topic in many different ways. And remember, you're already going to have a book. We're in literacy and writing. We're working on researching and writing your book. So even when we dive into this project, you will already have all of your information organized and compiled into your book. So this isn't an instead of your book, this is an extension of your book. So you can, as an extension of your book, write a poem. I don't know how many of you watched the inauguration. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But there was a wonderful young poet who read her poem, and maybe she's going to inspire you to write a poem. You can create a poster. Remember when we fought for not even justice, but remember when we raised money for the wildfires in Australia, and we all made posters that stated the problem and stated how we can fix it. So maybe that's your choice. You can do a PowerPoint presentation uh, either on Google Slides or on PowerPoint. Google Slides, this is what I'm using right now. Every single one of you has access to this, just like you do with Google Docs. And it's just like PowerPoint. And I can absolutely help you build those tech skills while you make your PowerPoint presentation. You can make a shoebox diorama. We've all done those before, right? I heard at least one of you tell me you're excited to write a newspaper article. That is a great idea. With things like that, you can um, do some preliminary research and look at what makes a good solid newspaper article and make sure that you include those elements in your newspaper article. You can if it's available to you, if your parents are able to help you out, you can get one of those 3-fold cardboard display boards and present your information that way. You can make a timeline of events. You can make a collage of photos and facts. You can make a mobile, one of those things that hangs from the ceiling, and that can be a way to present photos and facts. You can make a diagram. You can create a photo album with captions below your photos to tell your reader what's happening. You can write a children's book. How is this different from the book that you've been working on? Think about books that are lower level than what you guys are used to now, something that maybe the explorers could read and learn from. You can absolutely turn your book into a illustrated, easy to read children's book. You can write an acrostic poem. Who remembers what that is? I'm not even going to tell you right now. If you know what an acrostic poem is, tell me in Zoom. If not, we'll go over it when we get together. Or you can write an advice column, and you can spell column correctly, unlike what I just did. Let's fix that. You can write an advice column, which is almost kind of similar. Well, I wouldn't even say that. It is different. You can write an advice column giving people advice of what to do. That would be a good one for a persuasive book. Now, if you don't want to present your information with writing, you can let your audience hear or listen to you. One of you the other day suggested recording a podcast or a radio show. That's a wonderful idea. I learned so much from podcasts, as does a huge audience around the world. You can tell a speech like Martin Luther King, a passionate, loud, empowering speech. You can tell a story. You can get in front of a camera and tell a true story that inspires change. You can also write a song or a rap, like so many people in the world who have taken their feelings and their thoughts and their opinions and turned it into a poem set to music. In other words, a song or a rap. Now you can record yourself on video in a myriad of different ways. Maybe you want to do a live news broadcast and format it so that it seems like like you're an anchor at a news station. Maybe you want to make a YouTube video and format it like you're a famous YouTuber trying to convince all of their followers to adopt dogs and police brutality, help the environment. Maybe you make a documentary. There's so many good documentaries nowadays. You can take inspiration from those documentaries and use that inspiration to create your own. You can write and perform a skit. If you don't know, a skit is like a short, condensed play. Something like this you can either do as a one-man show, or since some of you are working on the same or similar topics, maybe you want to collaborate and do a skit with more than one person. It's going to be harder over Zoom, but not impossible. Think about it. Maybe you write and record a commercial. Commercials are just persuasive, persuasive texts, trying to persuade you to buy something. Maybe instead of persuading your viewer to buy something, you're persuading them to save the environment, adopt a dog, whatever it is you're writing about. You can make an instructional video. Hey there, I'm blank, and here's how to blank. I found this idea online. I thought it was kind of fun. You can create an episode of a reality TV show. However you want to format your video, as long as your information is being broadcast, is being understood by your audience. You can get really creative with this. Now, the interact with column, I happen to think is a special kind of fun. Like, these are all amazing and would be so fun to make. But somebody the other day recommended a march or a parade. That might be something that's a little out of our reach for this project, but I love the way you're thinking. You can start a fundraiser But keep in mind, if that is your goal, you are going to need to figure out a way to advertise your fundraiser, to gather attention, to gather sympathy, so people want to, want to donate to your fundraiser. That kind of goes to start a small business, absolutely. You can design a model. You can make this into a STEM-like project, but just make sure, again, that it conveys your message. Maybe it's some kind of sculpture or statue or piece of technology that you're inventing. Get creative with it. You can create a board game. I know that at least one of you are doing that now with another subject that you're familiar and passionate about. So maybe you create a board game, and within that board game, your message is there. Your information is still being conveyed, is still being passed on. You can create a test for your reader, for your viewer to take. You can make something like a word search or a crossword puzzle. I think something like that would be a little harder. That would be an extra challenge. I think it would be harder to really change your reader's mind with something like a word search or a crossword puzzle. But hey, maybe you figure out how to do it. You can conduct an interview. Maybe you reach out to an expert in the field that you're learning about, and you ask them to do an interview over Zoom, and you ask them pressing and important questions that is going to help convince your reader to do what you want them to do or think. You would hold a debate. Again, this is something that you probably can't do independently. So this is something that you would need to collaborate with a classmate who has a similar or the same subject as you. But you can go back and forth answering questions, stating different points of opinion. You can hold a mock court case. I think this would be a really fun one to do on video. You can make it seem like you are a lawyer whose job it is to convince a whole jury to adopt a dog, save the planet, and police brutality, fight global warming. I also create a game show, which is kind of similar to the board game. You can have a panel discussion of experts. Maybe they're all you. Maybe you're working with somebody in the class, or maybe you create a home museum exhibit where people can come to learn about your topic. There are so many different ways you can present your information, and you know what? I bet that there are some that I didn't even think of that aren't on this list. This is really your opportunity to be creative and to present this information that you're learning in a way that speaks to you. So that is what I want us to work on today. I want us to first I want us to each pick which kind of project we're going to do. Now, we're not going to start today. All we're going to do is start planning. I'm going to tell you, I think I've been talking for long enough, so I'll tell you what planning for these projects entails when we come back on Zoom together. I don't know if you can tell by the way I'm talking right now, but I'm really excited about this project. I think it's going to be really fun, and I think that you are all incredibly creative and that you're all going to create something that we can all be super duper proud of. All right, I'm going to stop talking, and I will see you on Zoom very soon. Bye.